Welcome to Deep Thought. Everything has something deeper with it. Everything. You know what? One of the biggest mistakes that people do in general is judge something by its outer appearance. That's one of the biggest single things. I mean, they look at a home without, they'll say, oh, it's real nice, but then they don't know what's going on inside with anything. There's been people, they'll see a house, go house shopping, and then the inspector will come in and find everything going on. I remember this one contractor, I never forget, he told me, this was when I was living in Fort Washington, Maryland, and I was talking about some of the nice houses that are in that area, nice big houses, many mansions. And he said, yeah, but the people living in them can't afford furniture, and if their roof leaks, they can't afford to get them fixed. I was like, oh, wow. And that's the one thing, no matter what's going on, there's some underlying thing. Like, when we talk about crime and poverty and stuff like that in any nation. A lot of times there are people who will say, well, these people, they're doing that because, they just do it. But nobody's looking at, well, what about their living conditions? What's the environment? You always have to scratch below the surface with anything if you're doing any type of analysis. Even in attraction, right? Even in attraction, one of the things that, when I get deeper, when I talk about how someone can develop an attractive presence, there's really 3 levels to it, 3 tiers, right? There's some people who feel like, well, if you just have a nice looking face and definitely a nice looking body, you will do well. In fact, that's something I say. I was like, yeah, work on your body. But that's just an outer surface. See, one of the things with the outer is that when people see it, it's still limited by whatever any individual considers attractive. But there's actually 2 more levels to it. That's just the tier 1 level. Everybody has met that one person or 2 or 3 who are very physically attractive, but then you get to know them and you're like, whatever. All right, till they open their mouths. And that's men and women. Though men don't say it as quickly as she got, nice body. We say it later when, realizing she doesn't have a personality becomes a problem. But anyway, right? That's one level. But if you dig deeper, right, there's that other level, which is the personality. And that's what actually helps people click. And that is in the body is enhanced or the body either enhances the personality either enhances or detracts from the body. As I said, it's they were alright till they open their mouths, or sometimes you get somebody look average, but they have such a great personality, it makes them look more attractive. So that's a powerful thing. So that's the second tier when you're looking at it. But then there's even a third tier with relationships and with someone personally, and that's the masculine or the feminine energy, and that's the primal energy. That's the primal energy in everything living, including plants. There's the female side is either dominant or the male side is either dominant, and it's not in terms of, you shouldn't think of it in terms of a gender like that, though there's a strong connection, but it's rather in terms of how powerful the energy is, or how masculine, how active the energy is if it's masculine, or how receptive it is if it's feminine. So there's always those levels. One of the things in looking at anything, looking at any phenomenon, looking at any political thing, any political analysis, if you analyze in any social group and why they behave the way they do, or anyone's behavior, you always have to look at the underlying thing. Where did they grow up? What was going on in the environment? Let me give you an example. Now, if you have a rough and tough kid, okay, say a little boy, he grows up in a very poor environment. Fewer resources, the schools aren't as good. He ends up becoming a gang member and eventually a gang leader. Now, some people would say, oh, he was just a bad seed or anything like that, right? He was just a bad seed and it was just that behavior was inherent. Some people will even say, oh, well, it's genetic, right? Okay. But then if you take that same boy and put him in, say instead of being born in in a poor environment, he's born in at least an affluent environment where he has the exact same aggression, but the little league football teams are better funded. The schools are better funded. There's more programs. There's maybe even a stronger presence, a father presence in the home to instill discipline. They are able to channel that energy into positive pursuits. So instead of becoming a gang member, he becomes the captain of the football team and the star athlete and maybe the class president, something like that. So the same aggression is focused in another direction. So in analyzing that behavior of anyone, you always got to dig a little bit deeper. You're looking at it and saying, well, okay, what was the environment and how did they interact with the environment? That's a major thing. It was like if you change it. See, one of the things is that I think many people will stick to the surface on something and they don't really want to dig deep. But with every single thing, you have to dig deep. If you, retail. A couple years ago, there was a real warm winter. Winter coats didn't sell. That's when the retail apocalypse kind of sped up a bit. A lot of retailers took a hit because they couldn't sell their winter stuff because the winter was so warm. And in fact, that's really affecting the environment. The other day, I went to a health fair at my youngest son's school, and they had some turtles in the area. Anybody familiar with Maryland, the turtles are a big thing. And a woman, a park ranger, was talking about how some turtles, because of the heat, because it's getting warmer, are gradually moving out of the area. A certain type of turtle. And people, some people will say, well, what they doing? It was like, you look at the environment, what's going on? You got to dig deeper. I always say, if you want to know why a fish behaves the way it do, look at the water it's swimming in. Because even the way people behave in the overall environment now and why they do the things they do. Some people will say, well, it's the behavior thing. But then as you start digging deeper, you'll say, okay, look at the environment. But then you still dig deeper and it's like, well, how did this environment get this way? A lot of times people will talk about poor neighborhoods or something. But you got to ask, okay, well, why is this neighborhood so poor? Is it the people? Or is it the choice of jobs? There's a lot of factors. When you do analysis, you gotta keep digging. You gotta keep digging. You can't look at the surface of anything. And why am I saying that? That's the one thing, one of the reasons why I want to, I call this channel Deep Thought. You got to go deep in everything. There's always something more to it. Even, I talk a lot about the relationship stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I don't say publicly. Because there's still some deeper angles. It's to really solve everything. Like people have asked about solving a relationship issue and all of that. It would take a massive shift of the environment. And then there's some specific ways to do it, which because I'm good with just one person, one federal person following my thing. I don't need 15. So I'll keep that to myself. But it's a very comprehensive thing. That's why a lot of times when people do stuff to try to change things, it's very superficial. Because they're not looking at all angles. So anyway, I just wanted to have people think. Because like I said, this main channels thing is having people think. So anyway, right? That's it. I want y'all to keep rising and transforming. Peace.